the sack back to the 8-yard line.
Johnny Wilson is enormous wide receiver.
6'6", running 4.53.
Beats right there too. Look at that pop. Good punch.
Let me talk my shit again.
Sir, yes, sir. We bike. What it do, what it do, what it do. This is the Talk My Shit podcast. I'm your humbly hostile host, Cassius Cliff. Before we even get into this content in this video, I'm going to take a brief moment. I want to definitely thank and shout out all my supporters that have been supporting me since the beginning throughout the course of the last season. But I want to take a moment to shout out the new subscribers, the people that just joined, especially given the last video I just dropped. Appreciate y'all helping me reach a benchmark that I set for myself. Huge shout out to y'all. Thank y'all. With that being said, we're going to go and wrap up the 2024 NFL Draft with the remaining 4 picks that we had. And we had Jeremiah Trotter Jr., Trevor Keegan, Johnny Wilson, and Dillick McMahon. And I'm not going to lie to y'all, aside from Jeremiah Trotter and Trevor Keegan, I have zero idea who those remaining 2 guys were, especially given that, obviously, you see where they were drafted. So, not highly regarded guys, not highly recruited guys, I would say, out of college, going into college. But with that being said, I feel like we actually absolutely checked certain boxes when it came to what we could acquire this late in the draft and what it could offer us moving into the future. First and foremost, we got Jeremiah Trotter Jr. at the 155th pick out of Clemson. And obviously, this is a legacy pick. You know, his father used to play for us and had 2 stints with us. And really and truly, if we did not acquire Devin White, we absolutely needed a guy like this, being able to not only, obviously be able to play inside linebacker, but able to have the ability to cover as well. Yes, he has pretty decent numbers, if not good numbers, when it comes to the 26 starts that he had out of 39 games, nearly 200 tackles, 29 and a half tackles for loss, 13 sacks, 4 interceptions, as well as 2 for pick 6. But really the glaring number that jumps out at me is the number he was graded when it came to pass coverage by PFF. He was rated the number 1 linebacker in pass coverage on a 92-point coverage percentage. And that, to me, is clearly the highest need that we needed out of our inside linebackers. Yes, those guys could play against the run, but being able to cover slot receivers or really tight ends was a glaring issue for us last season. And really, that shit was embarrassing. We couldn't guard a soul when it came across the middle. So being able to have a guy like Jeremiah Trotter, who I don't necessarily believe is going to start day 1, but he actually has the ability and aptitude to cover across the middle, I'm going to take that and hang my hat on it purely because we just didn't have that last season. Obviously, I believe in Vic Fangio and his scheme and his game plan. So do I believe that Jeremiah Trotter is going to start day 1? I don't. But is he better than what we had last season and possibly can offer us a lot more? Absolutely. Because we was working with virtually nothing when it came to the inside linebacker position. Guys were just getting cooked left and right, and really, they were just getting cardio out there. So having a guy that can at least give you a semblance of coverage ability at the linebacker position goes a long way, especially for a defense like we're going to be deploying this season. Moving on, we got Trevor Keegan out of Michigan with the 172nd pick. And I think we actually needed guards, especially given that we have Cam Jurgens moving to center with Jason Kelce hanging it up. So the right guard position has not necessarily been sewn up when it comes to who's going to be starting at that spot. Obviously, Tyler Steen played there. He actually, has been with the team already. So that's, I guess, a projected favorite. But drafting a guy like Trevor Keegan, signing a guy like Matt Hennessy, I think those guys are going to be able not only to sharpen up the room and, iron sharpens iron, but it's going to be able to push guys like Tyler Steen and possibly, hey, if Trevor Keegan gets out there, so be it. But this is a guy at 6'5", 310 pounds who actually started 37 games out of 44. He allowed 0 sacks over the course of last season and actually only 3 sacks in nearly 1,000 pass block attempts. That to me is great, especially given the fact that he's played a lot of, if not all of his snaps at guard and started all those games at guard, and even only committing 6 penalties over the course of his entire college career. So obviously this is a guy that is proven, a guy that has played that position for a long time. And to me, the best part about his game is his tenacity and his energy. The guy's not afraid. He will move a man the same size as him against his will, and he's going to let him know about it. And to me, that's exactly what I want out of my offensive lineman, purely because given the fact that we have Jeff Stoutland, the best offensive line coach out of the entire NFL, you need to have that energy and tenacity to move a man. You can have the technique, but do you have the wherewithal and the dog in you, you're going to get moved around. It's as simple as that. Again, moving on with our last pick out of the 5th round, we got Johnny Wilson out of Florida State with the 185th pick. And obviously, if you look at him, the guy looks like a freak of nature. He's sitting at 6'6", 6'7", over 230 pounds, running a 4.53. On Madden, that is a dream, obviously. But this is real life. And in real life, over the course of his career, he averaged almost 13% drop rate. That is horrible. That is a big problem, especially for a guy that he has all the traits. And really, given the team that he's about to be on, he's going to have the opportunity if he actually steps up. Do I believe in being receiver number 3? Absolutely not. I would even move him to the Z position to allow, I guess, Smitty to play the slot. No, I think Ainias Smith is going to be the 3rd receiver in this offense. And really, a guy like Johnny Wilson, even though he's a pretty good blocker and actually has, some good run after the catch ability, he needs to work on his hands. The hands are a huge and glaring problem from him. Even though he did average 17.2 yards per catch, clearly the hands are an issue for him, and that's something that he clearly needs to work on if he has any ambition of making his team and being able to play. Because everybody else on this roster, when it comes to that receiver room, are vetted. I would say aside from a guy like, obviously, Ainias Smith. But Paris Campbell is a vet, proven vet. Obviously, you already know what we got in AJ and Smitty. There's no discussion about that. Last and certainly not least, we got Dylan McMahon at the 190th pick out of NC State. And out of these 4 picks, aside from Jeremiah Trotter, I really feel like Dylan McMahon can offer us a lot, given his versatility and his IQ. Why do I say that? This is a guy out of 49 games, started 44 games, and really 30 of those games were at left guard and right guard, and the remainder were at center. So that's a guy that had to play 3 different positions, and understanding how to not only set up your blocks, but really setting up your teammates playing center. You have to have IQ for that. And a guy of his versatility and really of his caliber, though he was obviously not highly regarded, this is a guy that allowed only 2 sacks over the course of the last 2 seasons and really has a lot of athleticism playing the offensive line position. This is a guy that's sitting at 6'3", 299, had a 33-inch vert. Come on, man. Like, I don't know about y'all. 33 inches off the ground and weighing almost 300 pounds is no small feat by any stretch. Like, you got to be a freakish athlete to be able to do that. And that's exactly what he did at his combine. So Dylan McMahon absolutely could offer us a lot, obviously as a backup position for center, but also a guard, given the opportunity, and really the need. And that's exactly the operative word here, given the opportunity and the need. These guys should absolutely not be playing early and often by any stretch. Obviously, aside from Jeremiah Trotter, who I believe could obviously offer us a lot early, the rest of those guys should not be playing at any stretch. If they are playing, we are in trouble. Make no mistake about it. These guys are not going to save us. They're not going to make this team better, at least not right away. They clearly were drafted in the 5th and 6th round because they got some things to work on. Certainly, guys fall for reasons off the field or injury, but that's not the case with these players. These guys were drafted, in my opinion, where they're supposed to be drafted, maybe aside from Jeremiah Trotter Jr. So, again, these are purely developmental depth picks, and that's where they should be at. I would be more than happy to see these guys in street clothes week in and week out, and them really having the most play time during preseason. And if it's the other way around, again, that could spell trouble, but only time will tell, obviously. With that being said, these picks wrap up the 2024 NFL Draft, and if I have to give this draft a grade, I'm going to give it an honest A-. Why do I give it an A-? Obviously, the first 2 picks in Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell, I feel like were home runs, clearly positions of need, and really could help impact and solidify the defense for years to come. But the 3rd-round pick in Jalix Hunt, I feel like was a reach, especially a guy that played for small universities like Cornell as well as Houston's Christian. I feel like that's possibly a reach. But moving on from that pick, I feel like those were knockouts. And if you ask me, the reason why I give it an A-, the Jalys Hunt pick and possibly not, drafting an inside linebacker sooner versus, waiting to get a guy like Jeremiah Trotter and even possibly the guy that might be playing right guard. We could have probably found the right guard for, the future had we had drafted it earlier, but obviously time will tell, and we already got guys like Tyler Steen in-house. So again, this wraps up the 2024 draft. This is the Talk My Shit podcast. I'm your humbly hostile host, Cassius Cliff. Please, please, please comment on this video. Let me know what y'all think of the draft, of the content, as well as be prepared for these next couple videos to drop, because we're definitely going to look at the schedule as well as touch on some, if not all, of our offseason acquisitions up to this point and keep this train rolling. Again, this is the Talk My Shit podcast. I'm your humbly hostile.